Welcome to the Startup Leader Show, where we learn lessons from leading startup founders and executives. I'm your host, Lisa Dreher. I'm excited to introduce our guest for today, Dr. Rajan Bedi. He is the founder and CEO of Spacechips. Welcome to the show, Rajan.
Thank you very much, Lisa. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for making time to speak with us today. Maybe we can start by having you give just a little bit of background on yourself and Spacechips.
Sure. I've worked in the global space industry for 20 years. I spent 12 of those years working for Airbus in the UK, working on a number of very major programs. Always wanted to set up my own company, was never courageous enough. And then almost 7 years ago, I decided to take the plunge. I've invented some satellite communication products, and I wanted to bring those to market. And so I thought, okay, let me try. You only live once. And so, the company has been running now for almost 7 years. We are a products and services company. And to date, we have delivered over 200 orders to 70 customers in 25 countries across 19 time zones. So I'm really pleased, how the company has grown after almost 7 years.
That is so exciting. So in your role right now and in the business, what are some of the trends that you're really keeping a close eye on?
Edge-based computing, the ability to completely reconfigure the transponder operation in orbit. We're also so the company, as well as having products, we offer services, and we offer design consultancy services, and we're getting so many requests from different companies around the world, and the requests are so diverse. Sometimes a company might say to us, can you recommend some components for our next space project? And that piece of work may last 2 or 3 hours. But then we have the opposite side of the spectrum, where companies will come to us and ask us to design and deliver bespoke satellite and spacecraft electronics. And those sort of projects can last many months. So we are seeing many diverse trends as we enter the new industrial revolution and as we enter tomorrow's space-based economy.
Wow. So that's really exciting. So we invited you here today to talk a little bit about your experiences in starting Spacechips and growing it over the last 7 years. So maybe we can start by just having you talk a little bit about the biggest keys to your success so far.
Hard work, persistence, and innovation, Lisa. It's starting a company is a pretty crazy thing to do. And it's an incredibly hard thing to do, in my opinion, but it's a very exciting and very exhilarating experience. And for me, it's been a very hard and difficult journey, but it's a journey I've enjoyed immensely. My company won Startup Company of the Year 2017. Our inventions won many awards from 2016 to 2018. So for me, it's hard work, and it's persistence, and it's constantly innovating to offer the market something unique and different.
Yeah, those are great perspectives. And I think you're right. It's not easy to start your own business, without a doubt. When it comes to the business lessons that you've learned over these years, what would you say is the most valuable one that you've learned?
Learn how to sell. As engineers, we go to university and we study engineering, but nobody actually teaches us how to sell. And no business can survive unless you can sell your products and services. And the art of selling something that process it's a very thorough process, and you know, nobody teaches you these things at school or college or university, and you sort of learn the hard way after you failed to close many leads.
Yeah. So what sources or what resources did you use to kind of help you start to learn about that selling process, or did you just completely do it trial and error?
A bit of everything, Lisa. When, for example, when I failed to secure leads, which I thought were high win, I sort of scrutinized my own internal processes. I read a number of books on how to sell. There's a lot of resources on the internet on how to sell, and suddenly I realized, what was required, and I've become much better at it now.
That's great. That's great. So, knowing what you know now, is there anything that you would have told yourself when you first started out?
I think at the very start, Lisa, looking back, I would have liked to have had more people to sort of bounce ideas with. When you have independent scrutiny, it sort of helps the decision-making process. And but at the very start of a company, some founders are reluctant to share their ideas as well, and that balance can be difficult sometimes.
Sure. Sure. Is there anything that you would have done differently when you started out?
Perhaps.
Or if you were to just start all over?
Well, if I were to start over, I think I would sell more because I have that experience now of how to sell products and services. Um, but all entrepreneurs, we make mistakes, and the key lesson is to learn from your mistake, become a better leader, become a better entrepreneur, and learn how to serve and deliver value to your customers.
Sure. Yeah. One of the things that we hear a lot from founders that we speak with is that every once in a while their business will kind of hit a plateau and they need to kind of push through that or find ways to get past that plateau to continue to grow the business. Have you seen that in your business? And if so, what have you done to push past those plateaus?
Yes, we have seen plateaus on a number of occasions. So the company was founded in 2014, and towards the end of 2015, we had a plateau, and we needed to bring in a lot of revenue as well to finance the R&D of our products. And a lot of my blog readers were sort of sending me messages saying, "Look, really love your articles. Why don't you offer training courses?" And so I also set up the training part of the business. And today we have taught space electronics to 650 professionals in 15 countries. That's 50 companies and 7 space agencies. We're the only provider of this content in the world, and it's generated significant revenue for the company, which has allowed us to sort of grow and develop other parts of the business. And then also last year, like many companies around the world, we were affected by lockdown and by COVID, and so we introduced a new service to the market last year, where companies who are having difficulty maintaining production of their space electronics, um, we allow them to ship their space electronics to us, and we then tested that on their behalf. Or what we also did was we allowed companies to ship their space electronics to us, and then from anywhere in the world, they could remotely command and control our test equipment, measuring the performance of their avionics. So that allowed them to maintain production in a socially distanced way.
Wow, that's fascinating. That sounds really creative. What kind of, special technology or capabilities did you need to put in place in order to make that possible?
Well, we have our own lab, which was exclusively for us. Um, And in our own case, we were able to continue production and testing during lockdown. And several of our customers weren't, and we were able to help them. And then we realized actually this is a viable business in its own right. And then we sort of expanded the lab, uh, added the infrastructure to allow people to remotely control and command our equipment from anywhere in the world. And so avionics testing is the sixth part of the space chips business. It's also the newest part, and we have a number of clients around the world who are availing of this service.
Got it. So, you've mentioned a couple of different, I guess, lines of business that you've brought to bear since you started the business. And a lot of it seems like it's come as a result of just working with your customers and listening to what they're looking for. How do you decide which of those opportunities to jump into and do something with, and which how do you decide which ones you don't do, right?
I suppose that's part of the entrepreneurial mindset, and sort of in terms of assessing the potential of an opportunity, assessing the viability of an opportunity, and doing some sort of risk analyses to sort of work out whether this could be a viable uh, sort of service or product for the company. And I'm also sort of doing market research with existing customers and potential prospects. When you bring to market a new product or service, there's always a high element of risk, and we want to minimize that risk. So, market research plays a very crucial role in determining the success of bringing something new to the market.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, what are some of the, I guess, processes that you use for doing that market analysis and understanding whether the customer has a viable solution or not?
Firstly, as a company, we are slightly unique because we work throughout the supply chain. Okay, we work with OEMs and manufacturers of satellite and spacecraft systems. We work with component and technology providers. We work with governments and agencies. So we tend to hear the problems and pain points which all of these diverse stakeholders are experiencing. And so that gives us insights uh, into these problems and whether we could potentially offer solutions to these problems. So, for example, when I set up the training part of the business, I'd never ever intended to set up that part of the company. But that gets you in front of many, many diverse types of people around the world. And in that particular forum, they're very open about sharing their problems at work and their challenges. And quite often, uh, and because of the design consultancy part of the business, we already have solutions to those problems. And also because we are a product developer, we will have already experienced those issues ourselves. So we have our own solutions. So it's all about listening to our customers, understanding industry trends, um, where the problems are. Do we have solutions to these problems? Can we innovate solutions to challenges? I suppose it's all sort of fundamental business acumen.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so I want to end with one key question, and that is if you were to make one prediction about the future of, and I guess fill in the blank, it could be business or the satellite/space industry or technology, what would that prediction be?
Running a space company isn't going to get any easier.
Huh?
Regardless of what technology um, sort of becomes available. In my opinion, running a company of any type, but particularly a space company, isn't going to get any easier. But just because it's difficult, I'm not. I don't want to scare anyone away. Running a company is a very exciting and a very exhilarating experience, and running a space company is such a cool thing to do. Um, in my opinion, in my experience, I found the journey to be very difficult, but it's a journey I am very excited in continuing this journey for the next 10 or 15 years. Regardless of its difficulty, it's something that I find very addictive and very exciting.
Ah, so the rewards outweigh the challenges.
Yes.
Excellent. Well, that's, I think, a great note to end on. Thank you so much for being here today and sharing your experiences and insights with us. We really appreciate it.
You're very welcome, Lisa.
Okay, we look forward to talking with you again in the future.
Sure.